Hi, this is Simon Pegg, and this is me doing Would You Rather. Would I rather live with Nick Frost or Edgar Wright? Nick Frost. Would you rather be completely invisible for one day or be able to fly for one day? Oh, fly. 100% fly. My God. Michelin star or greasy dive bar? Michelin. Oh my God, of course. I've changed. Would you rather be transported permanently 500 years into the future or 500 years into the past? Future. Of course, unless, obviously, I found myself on some charred promontory, which is all that was left of the planet Earth, thanks to the current political direction. Would you rather be the first person to explore a planet or be the inventor of a drug that cures a deadly disease? Disease. That's going to help people. Me wandering around on Mars ain't going to help nobody. Make my mum proud. Would you rather headline Glastonbury or play at Wimbledon? My daughter has headlined Glastonbury. She sung backing vocals for Coldplay. And my first Glastonbury, my biggest achievement was not taking a shit for 3 days. And then she comes along and ruins it. Would you rather fight five zombies or 10 androids? 5 zombies. Androids are going to overpower you every time. Zombies, fairly easy if they're the slow, proper ones. Would you rather live without the internet for a day or your phone for a week? Phone for a week. Can't live without the internet. Whose stunts would you rather have to attempt? Tom Cruise's stunts in Mission Impossible or Harrison Ford's stunts in Indiana Jones? That's interesting because in Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise does Tom Cruise's stunts, whereas in Indiana Jones, Vic Armstrong helped out with Harrison's stunts when it got really bad. I know Harrison Ford was very good at doing his own stunts. I'd probably do Tom's just because they're more recent and the safety precautions are probably slightly better than they were for Harrison back in the day. Having seen Tom do his stunts, even though he broke his ankle and does crazy stuff, he is very well looked after and he's very good with health and safety. So that's my hat full of questions. Probably trying to get out of London in the evening to get to the school run on time. Sometimes that can be very action-packed. Life generally for me isn't like an action movie, but sometimes when I'm working it is because I'm making one. So, but generally speaking, I try and keep the action to a minimum. Unless I go snowboarding, which I do a lot, and that is very action-packed. I was doing the 4th Mission Impossible, and I was in Vancouver, and it was winter time. And in my downtime, much to the production's sort of fear, I started to go snowboarding, and I became obsessed with it. And now it's my passion. Well, you tend to learn something new every time. Like with this one, with Fallout, I learned how to use what's called a rebreather, which is like when you do scuba diving, but it's not scuba, it's not compressed air. It's a special sort of system, closed system that you wear on your front. You breathe your own air in and out. It scrubs the carbon dioxide you breathe out, turns it back into oxygen, so you can stay underwater for prolonged periods and not give away any bubbles. It's good for stealth diving. So I learned how to do that for a scene, and I learned how to drive a twin-engine speedboat. No, I've done a bit of scuba, and so and you get, you know, obviously the highest sort of quality tuition. They don't just expect you to do it. I learned at the tank in Pinewood, and you know the safety precautions are totally through the roof. So you never feel uneasy. Don't acknowledge the explosion, or do. It depends what you're looking at. There's different schools of, there's the post sort of die-hard explosions hurt, or the walking away, not acknowledging. I think now we're in an era where it's okay for men to embrace their fallibility and experience some kind of, you know, dread or fear as a result of the explosion and express it as you walk away. But I think looking cool is probably the best option. It's like, I know what I've done. I just tossed a grenade into this sniper's nest. I'm going to walk away knowing that they're all going to die, and I don't care. Take that into walking away from putting up a tent or getting a barbecue lit. that kind of thing. That's where I walk away looking, getting the pizza oven to the right temperature, walk away looking cool. Well, get to set. I usually have an omelette, which Mikey, our amazing chef, makes for me with steak usually and some hot sauce. Then I'll go into makeup, have a laugh in makeup for a little bit. And then I'll go to my trailer and I'll get an estimate on when they need me so that I know when to get into my costume so I can just lounge around in whatever I've come to work in for a while and play Candy Crush. And then eventually I'll get into costume, go to set, and then Tom arrives with his 150 strong entourage, and that's him now, just getting in contact to not overplay his entourage. No, then he comes to set and we get on with it. I mean, he's a Mr. 100% Tom. He works very hard, so we just all sort of hit the ground with the same degree of concentration and focus as he has, and try and keep up. I guess I'd say driven, 40-something, tech head, looking for same, but female, or possibly male. I don't know what Benji's, how he identifies. We haven't come across that yet. I think he's got a bit of a crush on Ethan, so maybe he's looking for a Ethan-like lover. Same, really. I mean, we get together and, we're friends and we have been for 20 years, and we love working with each other because of that, it's fun. And so whenever the moment arises, and it will arise at some point, I just hope that we can have the same kind of fun we had on Shaun and Spaced and Hot Fuzz and World's End, and keep delivering the goods, We're very keen to create something special, and we're me and Edgar have both said, let's make something really, really, really funny this time. So, yeah, a laugh, I guess. Everybody, Edgar lives in LA, I live in Hertfordshire, Nick lives in somewhere else, like south somewhere, I don't know exactly where. And we're all busy on different things. So getting together, we can get together for dinner occasionally. Nick and I see each other a bit more at the moment because we've just started this production company. So we're in the office a bit together, which is nice. But to get all three of us in one place at one time is going to take some organization. I look at films like This Is Spinal Tap, or the Python movies, or Airplane, but also films of the Coen brothers like Raising Arizona or Fargo, as a sort of the benchmark for combining the comic with the dramatic, of being hilarious and tragic at the same time. I don't really love comedy which is just yucks the whole time. I like there to be a bit of color in it, I don't know if there are three things about Truth Seekers at the moment. It's being written. It's not a double-header for Nick and I, so it's not like a, Nick and me on the road kind of thing, but we'll both be in it. Well, I'm just making my way through. I've just finished with the second series of Westworld, which I really enjoy. I love Handmaid's Tale. I think that's extraordinary and very difficult to not watch. I'm sort of dabbling with the Walking Dead spin-off, Fear the Walking Dead at the moment. But the most life-affirming, brilliant show of this moment in history is Mortimer and Whitehouse Gone Fishing, which is just amazing. It's like cheese on toast for the soul. It's glorious. It's like The Trip, but real. Obviously, Rob and Steve are kind of playing versions of themselves, but that really is Paul and Bob Mortimer, and they're such wonderful human beings. And I don't know, there's something about the honesty and the camaraderie and the passion for fishing, and Bob's slight bemusement at it is just, me and my wife just watch it, and it seriously is, I love it. Snowboards. Yeah, I have 12. And the trouble is the whole thing is geared to, it's like fashion in some respect. The idea of seasons is every year the new boards come out with new art the board designs don't necessarily change a huge amount. I mean, things do arrive, you know, magnet traction, all that kind of stuff, the various different cambers and all that changes. But ultimately, that changes over a slightly longer period of time. But whether you've got the 2017 Arbor or it makes a big diff. And I kind of, I'm a bit suckered by that. So I tend to try and get a new snowboard every year. But, you know, the amount of time I spend snowboarding, I usually take 2 or 3 boards away with me when I go, but I only go maybe once or twice a year. So probably, and you've got to break them in as well and kind of feel, like the one I'm riding at the moment is an Arbor and it's really lovely. And I kind of want to stick with it for a while. It looks beautiful, it's kind of timeless. It has a kind of real wood finish to it. So I think I'm going to stay on that for a bit and get extra good on it before I swap it out for a Libtech or something. Get a stylist. I have an amazing stylist called Arabella Boyce, and she just helps me to. She'll, you know, when you're trying to figure out what to wear, or you go into any clothes shop, there's always the dreadful crisis of choice, and you know, I mean, I look at various fashion blogs and try and stay informed. But it's really nice for someone to kind of like whittle stuff down and go, I've got this stuff, what do you think? And Arabella, particularly if I have a press cycle, she'll come around and we'll go through loads of different looks and I'll choose them. That's really nice for when I'm doing my professional stuff. Just for a day-to-day, just keep it simple. And you know, I don't wear logo t-shirts anymore, and I'm trying not to dress like a child as much as I used to. As you get older, you're far more at home in a suit or something a little bit more elegant than you normally would be. You look more comfortable, I think, as a 40-year-old plus in smarter clothes. And I've really enjoyed I hated my 30s. I'm loving being in my 40s, and I enjoy dressing in the morning. Pizza, without a doubt. It's a joyous, and if you don't eat it all the time as well, because obviously it's a triple threat in terms of carbs, fat, and another bad thing. But you eat it sparingly, and then when you do eat it, it's like heaven on earth. You know, you take a bite into a really good thin crust, oven-baked pizza. Oh my God. Oh, what was it? I was thinking about this the other day. I don't like jokes particularly. When I do stand-up, people always come up to me and say, yeah, you can have this, and tell me a joke which would just make me want to kill myself. Best joke I've ever heard. There is a joke. When we did the Steve Coogan live show at the Lyceum in London, Steve and me and Henry Normal and Julia Davis, we all wrote these little sort of announcements to be read out by an announcer, which was Steve, as the audience come in, and it would be read in Steve Coogan's voiceover voice like this. And my favorite one that Steve wrote, that I always think is one of the most clever jokes, is as people were filing into this venerable old theatre, he'd say, "You might like to know that the theatre is reputedly haunted by the ghost of an actress called Miss Victoria Percy, who was stabbed in her dressing room in 1997. Which, considering the show was in 1998, was particularly funny. But there was something about the setup. It sounds like it's going to be a story from a long time ago. And her name, Victoria Percy, throws immediately images of sort of, you know, old London. But then the zinger of the date at the end, I just think that's genius.